Today we're going to write a new program, which is wherein we will try to do some operation in array list. So array list is, let me write the public static void main, public static void main, and args type is string args. Then inside this, so we are going to deal with the collections. So let's name this program as observing logs in array list. Think and observe so logs in array list. And what we are going to do in this operation is that we are going to uh, do simple operation in the array list like any other thing, right? First, what you would do is uh, have an array list here. List L equals new array list. Let's call this as shared array list or my shared array list. My shared list. And we do this. Import the list, and then I'm going to also import the array list. And then what we can do is my shared list dot add Ramesh. So since I have not parameterized this, by default it can take strings because it is object if it is not parameterized. Ramesh Shirish, and then say Sita. And then what I would do is display this in a for loop for int I is equal to 0. I is greater than or equal to dot size uh, I plus plus. system dot out dot println content of list. And then I would say plus dot gt get I. And what do you expect now? Let's run this program and see. Okay. Now, what is the output here? So we declared a program, then we declared a list inside this, then we want to print the content of this program. We declare the size of this. So we should always take less than 1. Because the first one we address this as 0. Okay. And then we want to print the contents. We're going to proceed. What is the output? So there's a mistake I did. I had taken this as greater than or equal to, which is not right because I'll never enter the for loop. So I changed this condition and I said I is less than or equal to. And then I'm going to run this program. Yes, I got this. So now I am storing the strings inside this. So what is the purpose of showing this program to me? So in the few previous episodes, we declared about the different collections and how to add the collections and all. Here, for example, I'm taking integer as an collection and I'm adding something. So similarly, we finished array list, but then we started talking of a vector example. So in order to appreciate exactly a vector, we say vector is synchronized, it's thread safe. So what exactly you mean by thread and safe? We still don't know what is thread and what is thread safety. So for that, we also talked about a thread program, and we wrote a small thread program wherein I just declared a main program, and then I just got the status of a thread. We also, explain what is thread. A thread is simply nothing but steps of execution, a series of steps of execution in a program. But a thread is not always a program. A program can have more than one threads, but this is the definition. Then what we did is that since main is a thread, we wanted to know its name. We got its name. We got the priority. We got if the thread is locked or not, right? And then we ran this program, and then we got the output of this, right? The thread is main and priority is 5, and then the lock is false. After that, we came to know what is thread, and then we also wrote another program wherein we wanted to see what is concurrent modification exception. So this is where we are going to see what's a concurrent modification exception. No, not this program. Basic array list. This is the one. Yeah. Now here, what exactly we mean by concurrent modification exception? We went through the API. It shows that when two threads are trying to acquire a resource, and if it is not permitted to acquire, do operation on more than one resource, then you will have concurrent modification exception. And then we went to a thread program, and then we saw what is the status of threads and all. Today, what we are going to do is that uh, they say vector is synchronized. What do you mean by synchronization? By the keyword synchronization, you're just going to make sure that, if I remember, we discussed an example is that uh, you're going to lock a resource. So I took a car example and then I showed you what happens when you do concurrent modification in my previous episode. Now we're going to write an array list in such a way that we will not have concurrent modification exception. That what exactly we are going to do in which means is that we are going to synchronize that. But before that, uh, doing synchronize, I'm doing a simple operation here. I am calling a for loop and then I'm just displaying the list here. Now let's do one thing is that let's say you're going to parameterize this. Let's say it shows my Eclipse shows, right? Let's try to make this as a integer. When I say this is my integer, what does it say? That this method belongs to raw type. List T should be parameterized. The method integer in the type list is not applicable for argument string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say add 1, add 2, add 3. Okay, let's run this and see now. Okay, it is playing 1, 2, and 3. Now instead of I doing it separately, why don't I do this inside the list itself, right? It means what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say my whatever is the count I'm going to add. That's it. Okay. And then I'm going to take this out. Let's see what happens. Something happened, did not go inside this. What is the issue? It got terminated. So now I have a program wherein I'm adding integers to the list. Let's see what happens. Now what is happening is that this is a list, right? It keeps on increasing because this is dynamic list. I need to add a size to this, to have it traverse exactly. So let's declare an initial size here. Let's not have this try catch. You don't need the try catch here. Let's say, initial size list is 5. Okay. Now let's see what happens. No, no, sorry. The way I have declared is not still right. The way I declare a size is the initial capacity we set as 5, right? And that's why what we will do is that we will keep on incrementing until it is less than or equal to 5. Then let's see what we are going to observe here. Yeah. So we printed 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we got the contents of this. Now, what if I want to synchronize this operation? So in order for me to synchronize this operation, I need to know how and where I need to synchronize. So I just need to add synchronize of an operation in such a way that, I should be able to see the logs. I should be able to see the log before we do an operation on the array list. See the status of the log during addition and see the status of the log when it is released. This is what I need to do. So for that, what I will do is that, I'll write a separate method, uh, public static void write operation, which will take some value int j. And then what I would do inside this is, would simply take this and then I would call dot add, and then I would do a add j. Instead of doing it here. And what I would do is that I would call this operation as write operation. The write operation does not return anything, and it would, just add this, and then I'll get the list of this. So what I'm doing, I'm just separating the write operation here in a method. So we try to make a for loop. Now we declared initial. I want to declare initial size. We declare initial size, and the array is going to, expand dynamically. No doubt about that. There's no limit once you declare array size, which I showed in the just now, right? So we gave initial size. We're going to do inside the for loop, and then we are going to do a write operation, and then going to list the contents, right? Uh, when we list the contents of the program, we are just adding integers in the for loop for a size of 5. Now we come to our main problem. I want to see if this operation is synchronized or not. How do I check that my operation is synchronized or not? I'm doing an operation of adding the integers of 1 to 5 into an array list of type object integer. But is my operation thread safe? That's the question. And how do I deal with that? So what I'm going to do is, before I do a write operation, I'm going to check what is the status of this thread, right? And after doing a write operation, what is the status of my thread? Let's take this a little this side so it's visible for us. Now, what we do now is we're going to observe main has a thread. Is the thread going to lock this or not? So I'm going to observe before the operation, was there a thread lock? And after the operation, was there a thread lock? This is after write. Let's check. Yes. Uh, Before write, the lock was false, means it was not locked, right? And after write also it was not locked. So during the write, is it getting locked during the write operation? So for me to observe that, I have to make the program sleep and then check what exactly I mean. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make the current sleep 3 thread sleep for some time, right? And then I'm going to do add operation here. Inside this, I'm going to check as soon as it comes inside the write operation. The moment it does my list dot add, what is the status of the thread here? That is, I'm coming inside this method now, right? So I say this is inside my method. Inside method. Inside write method. Now let's run this program. I don't need this task list. I don't need the outline. So this is my program. And what is my program called? Sync and observe. And what I did here is that from my main thread, I'm just observing the status of logs here. Let me reduce this font a little and then we can say this. I think now you can see the program properly. What I'm doing is that I am checking the status of a thread, the main thread. Uh, Before calling write operation, I'm checking the status of the thread here. Then I'm calling the write operation. Then I'm printing to see if something is got added to the list. And then I am checking again the after write. And inside the method when it is called, I'm checking here. So let's run this now. Okay, what is the response? You see this that the count is 0, write is false. It is inside the method, the write is false. Content of list is 0, it is 0 added. Then again, when it is after write is, it is also false. Again, it started for 1. Before write was false, right? And then after write was false. When it is inside the method also it is false. So this shows that array list is not synchronized at all. So in the earlier example, we had caught a concurrent modification exception because we had the thread simultaneously doing something like remove and all that stuff. To avoid that, what are we going to do? Now so far we know that the logs are not going here, it is not being here. We'll do one very simple operation of synchronizing the write operation. So what we are going to do here is something very simple, something like this, which means that we are going to add the synchronize keyword here, right? Private static synchronize static void operation. When we do this, let us observe now what are the outputs. You got it right. When it is inside the method, it is showing this as true. When it is before the executing the write operation, which is here, it is showing this as false. During write operation inside the method, it shows the lock is true. As soon as it comes out after write, that is false. So this is what is exactly which happens inside a vector. So right now I shown this operation with an array list. Now I need not put the synchronized word in vector. It is already put, but we will display a similar thing inside vector. Once we display this, then we really have understood how exactly the vector collection is made. So if you like this, subscribe my channel and hit a like button. Thank you.